How you doing, guys? Thank you guys for all joining. We have Coach Pitino here, and he'll start with an opening statement. If you want to ask a question, raise your hand, and we'll get through the list.
Well, guys, my team and coaching staff are super excited to be in Indianapolis. We got in late last night, went to bed about 4 or 5 in the morning after we were COVID tested, waiting for our second test so we could go practice. So we were all excited. It was a great tournament. It was an eerie tournament without fans, but it's been that way the whole season. So we're excited to get going here with some fans, at least 25%.
Question from Len Robbins.
He's muted.
You can unmute yourself. You should be able to.
I got it. Hey, Rick, how are you?
Good, Len.
I want to take you big picture on something else for a second here. I hope you'll bear with me. Mark Few, an old coach. I mean, not as old as you, but an old coach.
Will you stop with saying old, not as old as me? I'm a young coach.
Has been doing this for a long time, and he's, had so much success in the NCAA tournament, number one seeds, et cetera, and never got it. Is there, if you could just comment on like his career, and is there a sense in like the coaching fraternity with a guy like that? If your team doesn't win it, it'd be cool to see him win it.
It's funny. In my basement, I have the Providence wall, the Nick wall, the Louisville wall, the Kentucky wall, and Boston University wall. And it's gigantic newspaper articles about championships and Final Fours. And my first 2 years at Kentucky, I was there 7 years. We were on probation, couldn't play in the tournament. My big break was getting Jamal Mashburn to come. So we had 5 years. We went to 3 Final Fours in 5 years, 2 championship games. And when we won it with only 5 years in the tournament, the headlines of the newspaper were, Pitino finally wins it at Kentucky. and it was only 5 years. So, Mark had a great team last year. And Len, this story is hysterical, but it's 100% the truth. One of my favorite coaches in the game is Tony Bennett from Virginia. He kept having one bad situation after another after winning the league, get knocked out of the tournament. And I texted him 3 straight years in a row. And the last one was really difficult. He lost to a 16 seed. And I said, Tony, I guarantee you will go to multiple Final Fours and you will win championships. Just be patient. I know it was tough losing, but you won the ACC. I'm texting him this. So congratulations. And I put the AW in, and I didn't get a chance to put the ESOME. Congratulations on the awesome season. But what popped up was awful. So I sent it and I read it back and I said, oh my God, I called him up and I said, Tony, he said, Coach, don't say another word. My wife and I haven't laughed in 2 weeks after losing to a 16 team. We finally laughed. And he wound up and won it last year. And I think that Gonzaga has a great shot to win it this year. I think they have a great coach, great offense, great defense, but all the ones in the twos can beat anybody. They're all very, very talented.
Thank you.
That was a long-winded answer.
That's all right. Thank you.
Eugene.
Rick, you mentioned the COVID testing, but what has the last 24 hours been like for you and your team? Do you guys get to celebrate it at all?
Not really. We got dinner and then we immediately left at 10 o'clock. We didn't take off. We sat on the plane for an hour. We got in about 1:32. And we're going to celebrate when we get to the Final Four.
And after Iona won, you gave a shout out to Tim Cluess and said this was for him.
How come nobody's laughing?
I was wondering what your relationship is like with Coach Cluess and, how often you've spoken to him since you took over.
We've texted back and forth just about every game. He's always one of the first ones to congratulate me after each game. And it was no different than last night.
And it's only been an hour since matchups were released, but what do you know about Alabama and what are your thoughts on that matchup?
I actually watched them play about 5 or 6 times this year on television. The reason I think they were playing Kentucky, and I watch a lot of Kentucky games, and watched them play, and they had a unique style of play. So I tuned into them about 3 or 4 more times. And they are a unique team. About 40% of their shots are driving to the basket for layups, 40% are threes, 18% of the time they're getting fouled, and about 2% of the time they're taking mid-range shots, approximately. So they're a high percentage, high-powered offensive basketball team that's very gifted athletically. They're very well coached. And it's a tough game, but you expect a tough game when you're a 2 seed. I've been on the flip side. I've been mostly 1 and 2 seeds. I think I was a 5 seed of Providence when we went to the Final Four. So it's a little role reversal, but still you have to play the game.
Thanks, Rick.
Again, reminder, raise your hand if you have a question. Next question for Jaden.
Rick, has it sunk in for you and the players yet to be on this stage now after fighting through the pauses and then playing 4 and 5 in Atlantic City? What's the mindset going to be going into this matchup? Has it hit you yet that you guys are back in the tournament?
Well, we're excited, very excited, but you know, we battled the COVID thing was really difficult to battle because it's not only that you got your fundamentals, your offenses, your defenses interrupted all the time, but you had to get in shape again. Just picture you guys being locked in one room for 14 days. You're eating too much, no exercise, no walking outside, nothing. And we had to go through that 4 times. The last time wasn't as bad because we had 6 players that didn't have to go through that. But it was really difficult trying to get them back in shape. And what we did was we went in 2 double sessions a day because, as you know, if you go a long practice, a hard practice, you're not going to get them into shape. You're going to have injuries. So we tried to go 2 short hour-and-a-half practices so we wouldn't get hurt. We did get back in shape, but we've missed a lot of basketball. We've missed about 60 days of practice, and Asante Gist probably missed 4 months of practice.
And one more for me. With Alabama's defensive efficiency, how much more important is it to cut down on turnovers and be more valuable in terms of handling the basketball?
Well, the turnovers we've had this year are unforced turnovers. That's the dangerous thing about it. And the reason they're unforced, we run a lot of EuroLeague motion offenses where the ball is not in the hands of 1 or 2 players. Our 5-men, our 4-men, our 3-men handle the ball quite a bit. And that just takes time to gel, and it takes a year or 2 to gel everybody playing together. So that's why the turnovers are so high. But you're right. In order to upset somebody, you've got to keep your turnovers down. We did a good job last night with that.
Thanks, sir.
Brian Mahoney.
Hey, Rick. First of all, I just want to kind of end up where you expected. Was 15 about what you thought? And you know, I know coaches always say we take the time to the tournament, but when you're the overall number 1 or number 2, do you ever kind of look and see who might we play? Because we're probably going to get there. And how did you look at it today? Do you even bother looking past the first game?
Yeah, I asked who we play if we were to win, and I believe it was Connecticut and Maryland. But you look at the whole bracket, whether you're a 15 seed or 1 seed, just to see who's playing, just the interest level. But you know, right now we'll focus in. It's good that we're not playing until Saturday because we need practice time. We'll practice tonight at 9:30. We'll give 3 or 4 of our players off, and the rest of the guys will practice. The more practice time we get, because Alabama is bigger, quicker, faster, more experience, played more games. So more practice we get, the better off we are.
Thank you.
Paul.
Hey, Coach. Paul Snyder, the Montauk Sun. My question is, how nerve-wracking is it with all these contingency plans they have and different things? If one team tests positive, the next team's up. I couldn't hardly understand what they were saying during the selection show about the contingencies for if a team tests positive and has to drop out, and another team comes in. This is a crazy year that way. I wanted to hear your comments on that.
Well, we would lose a couple players, and I guess St. Peter's or somebody would back us up. I'm not sure which team would. but we're not going to, even if we have a problem, we're still going to play. We have 10 players that are capable of playing. If for some reason Alabama would not be able to play for some reason, then we'd play Louisville. So those are the contingency plans to get through it, and nothing we can do about it. It's tough times. Hopefully next year at this time, we don't ever have to experience this again.
I have a second part to the question. I want you to comment on both Asante and Nelly's performance in Atlantic City. I thought they were key.
Yeah, Nelly is, like I said earlier, with Jimmy V recruiting Jeff Ruland, that was the turning point for turning Iona. And I do believe the recruitment of Nelly, he doesn't have the reputation of a Jeff Ruland, 10 players in the nation, but I think he can become a great basketball player with a lot of work.
Oh, he's something else. His body and the length of his arms, and you got him playing some good defense.
And he's a terrific, humble young man who is, African kids. I've had great success with African kids. Gorky Zhang went from a non-player to a guy who signed a $60 million contract. They're very humble. They're great students. Yeah. They're very concerned about their academics, and they just want to learn. And so I'm very lucky. I have a young man from Rwanda who's not as developed physically as Nelly, Osborne Shima. He's going to be also a terrific basketball player.
Thanks.
Michaela?
Hey, Coach. This is Corey Roldan from the Quad Cities. I'm sorry, Michaela's up there. Can't change the name. But, Coach, what does Isaiah Ross mean to your program as a player, and how has he developed?
Well, Isaiah, I believe he averaged about 11, 12 points a game last year, and he was a good three-point shooter, but he was just a spot shooter. He wasn't a very good defensive player. He wasn't a very good passer. He didn't put it on the floor real well. And he has a strong desire to go play overseas. And I said, son, unless you learn to play defense, run a pick and roll, move without the basketball, you can't play overseas. So he said, well, teach me then. And I said, okay, we'll go to work on it. And he's done that. Last night, Wosick, when we played Fairfield and split with the beginning of the year, they didn't have their best basketball player, Wojcik. And last night he held Wosick to 0 points in the first half, and he played him. So he's improved every facet of his game, and obviously one of the leading scorers in the country. So he's put himself into a nice situation where he can get a contract overseas and play some form of professional basketball.
Thank you.
Billy Witz, New York Times.
Yeah, Rick. I don't know. Is Alabama, is it that what they do offensively, is it that unique, or is it just that they're so, I guess, disciplined about, getting, driving for layups, or, those three facets?
Well, it's one thing to have a style, but if you have great players and terrific coaching running that style, then you have a potent weapon, and that's what they. And they run their style. If they were slow and didn't shoot it as well, their style wouldn't be as great.
And how you guys on the opposite end of that, the Euro stuff that you've incorporated and are running, how much of that do you see in the college game?
Well, quite a bit. The influence of, it would be like if you watch the Golden State Warriors play, you'd see the ball move quite a bit. If you watch the New Jersey Nets play, the ball's going to be in the hands of their best players. And at the end of the shot clock, they're going to create something for one of their teammates or themselves. But the ball's going to be in the hands of one or two players to create. That's one of the reasons why we have a team this year that's turned the ball over so much, because the ball's not in the hands of one player all the time. But once you get it in, where all five players become good passes, it's pretty darn special.
And just one last thing, you mentioned yesterday you packed 8 suits. How long are those going to last you?
I'm using it as I really, as you would imagine, don't believe it, but I'm using it as a motivational tool for my players to understand that I believe in them. I did pack the suits. I did pack enough clothes for 8 days without having to do it. But the best part about March Madness is I don't care if you're a 16 seed or you're a 1-2 seed is the ability to dream, and dreaming's what it's all about. I've been to 7 Final Fours, and probably the most special one was Providence because I was dreaming back then. The Louisville, Kentucky Final Fours, maybe 2005, 97, we went to the championship. We didn't expect a lot out of 97, but we got to the championship game again. So the ability to dream is what it's all about.
So is it an omen that in 87 you beat Alabama?
It's the first time. I haven't thought of that. Thank you. That's great. And by the way, we beat a great Alabama team. Great team. 3 NBA players on it. Derek McKee was great. I think they were undefeated in the SEC. Boy, I hope that's true.
All right. Jen Williams, Fox, New York.
Rick, you mentioned you've been on the flip side of similar seeding. How do you think your tournament experience will help your team?
Well, from a preparation standpoint, I guess experience, no matter if it's me or anybody else, anytime you have experience from a preparation standpoint, it's like, being in a few Super Bowls, you prepare your team from the distractions and you prepare your team for what's at hand. But once the ball's thrown up, it's all about execution. And right now we know Alabama's a great basketball team, and we've got to execute at a very high level to have a chance to stay in that game and beat them.
Did you get a chance? I'm assuming you got a chance to talk to your team, but if you did you, and what was your message to them when you learned you'd be facing Bama?
We were on a Zoom call. We couldn't meet together because of the COVID restrictions. We were on a Zoom call, and I about 20 or 30% through, I said, guys, my SID, Brian thought we'd be a 15 seed, and then I thought it would be Alabama. So we kind of knew who we were playing. And then it was one of the last picks, but we knew it back then. And we talked about my guys have seen Alabama. They have unbelievable respect, and they think it's going to be a fun game because it'll be an up and down game. And they think that's fun. Their definition of fun, maybe not the same as mine.
Thank you.
Kevin Marr, News 12.
Hey, Rick, you've mentioned a couple times now about, you've been a 1 and 2 seed. So how much are you looking forward to being maybe a hunter rather than being the hunted?
I think I'd rather be a 1 or a 2 seed. No, I'm going to enjoy all levels of basketball. I said I went to Greece in the professional league, in the Euro League over there. I enjoyed it immensely. So I just enjoy coaching basketball. For me, I've experienced a lot. And to me, last night, winning the conference championship was the same way of winning the SEC championship, or the last 2 Big East championships played in the Garden before it broke up. So for me, it's the same smiles on the players' faces, the same hugs, the same experience. And so whether we're a 2 seed. Now, I will say this, that we have to, as Iona College, there was more pressure in that tournament than any time I've experienced in coaching. Because at Louisville, Kentucky, or even the Big East with Providence, you knew if you lost, the season wasn't over, you were still going to get a bid. All you were playing for was a higher seed. When you're in a league where you're 1 bid and you lose, and there's no tournament, not even an NIT, the pressure is incredible. And that's something I hadn't felt as a coach before. That was the first time.
All right, time for a couple more. Ken?
And Coach, congratulations. Tell us a little bit about the Alabama coach, Nate Oates' second year there after having been at the University of Buffalo. It seems like they'd like to score 80 points a game. Could be a defensive challenge for you.
I'm sure it will be. I don't know Nate personally. He's done an outstanding job at Buffalo as well as Alabama. But you know, it's to tell you the truth, both. If I had my druthers of playing Virginia or playing Alabama, it's from a style of play standpoint. It's very difficult to try and slow down a running team if you're a running team as well. So what you have to do is make sure you key in on what they do well in the running game. So we don't have the ability to slow down in Alabama. We don't have that ability. And that's not going to be our style.
Thanks, Coach.
Guy?
Hey, Coach. I just wanted to ask if, early in the year, you had talked about you're always learning something. Every year you've learned something that you've been in coaching. What have you learned this year, COVID aside?
It's not basketball what I learned. It was more how to get, I guess I learned more about what it's going to take to motivate players to fight something that they don't know about. And, COVID, when we were going through this, here I am. I'm 68. I'm in good shape, but you hear so many stories that it's hitting people in their 60s and 70s, and they don't know about what the real thing is. They were told in the beginning, don't wear a mask, then wear a mask, then wear 2 masks. And here I am. I'm in player development for 4 hours every morning with all the guys in the afternoon. And I know all of them could be asymptomatic, but to be honest with you, I was more concerned. I have an assistant coach, Tom Abadamarco, who's older than me, and you're concerned about him as well. So you just didn't know anything. And then finally you found out a little bit more about it. And then I actually, after being vaccinated, did catch COVID myself. So it was difficult navigating, but what I learned about is just keep motivating the players to handle adversity, understand how to deal with it, come out of it stronger. And I think the players handled it beautifully this year.
All right, last question we have is Dave Resnick.
Rick, given the length of the COVID pauses and the timing of them, especially the last one, was there ever a thought or a conversation of ending the season?
Well, did it cross my mind? I thought of all options, never to cancel the season. The only time I thought about the problems we were facing were where we could possibly play. I forgot that maybe it was St. Peter's or somebody, but you had to have 8 scholarship players, and I have 3 walk-ons. So I could have played those 2 games, but I didn't have, and by the way, I would have played even with the 3 walk-ons if they were different positions, if I had a power forward, if I had a small forward and a 2 guard. Unfortunately, they weren't different positions, but I was going to play the St. Peter's with 3 walk-ons if they were the positions I needed. That was the only time I wondered whether we should play or shouldn't play. Never thought about canceling the season. I am a little concerned right now, but fortunately, we will play. If the 4 or 5 guys on my basketball team, for some reason, contract COVID, we will play with walk-ons and we will have 10 guys ready to go. So we are not getting a substitute. We're going to play the game.
Asante, this is for Asante. Is he there?
I'm here.
Yeah. Hey, Asante. I was lucky enough to have 2 really good conversations with Coach Hurley. I'm real tight with Bob Semino over at Mount Vernon High School. And one of my favorite stories was Coach Hurley turned to Kyle Anderson in Mount Vernon High School and he said, "Hey, do you know where you are? This is Mount Vernon High School. They got like 12, 15 guys in the NBA. What was it like playing for the legendary Coach Bob Hurley?"
It was something special. Like, just every single day it was a different thing that happened. A lot of people don't understand how funny he is too. Like different things happen. It's crazy. Like, just being able to play for a coach of that caliber you know, and somebody who demands excellence, you know, and somebody who's just going to push you. And, you know, is such a stern, hard coach and cares about everybody, you know, and it was just great, you know, my senior year being able to play for him. And I learned so much in a little amount of time that I was with him. So, you know, I just appreciate that. And I feel like I take a lot of those principles that he instilled in me now, even today. So, you know, I love Coach Hurley to death. You know, I still speak to him every now and then. You know, he speaks to my father and my parents. So, you know, it's just a great connection, and I love his family. You know, I love Mrs. Hurley, the whole family.
That's the word, family.
They just
It's family, yeah.
They took me in as, you know, part of the family. Like I came late in my senior year. You know, I wasn't there from a freshman. You know, all my teammates have been there. So, you know, for them to just take me in the way they did, and for us to do something as special as we did, going 32-0 and finishing number 3 in the country, which we really should have been number 1 in the country.
Oh,
but you know, that was just something special for me, you know, and I love him for that.
Were you with him when you played at the SNY in Harlem at CCNY? Were you on that team then?
No, I think that was the year before, after me. I didn't play in that.
I think that was the last year before
I
they
think
closed
that
the
was the
school.
last year before they closed down. That wasn't me.
Yeah.
That was the last year, next year.
Thanks, man. That's a good answer.
Of course.
Guy, go ahead.
This is for Asante. So here we are again as a heavy underdog in an NCAA tournament game. What kind of message are you giving to your teammates in terms of the lesson that you guys may have learned when you guys had such a great first half against UNC and then the wheels kind of came off? How do you take that message and bring it to this team?
You know, I'll just try to tell them, you know, that team was very special, but we was very good on offense. You know, I think this team is, you know, has turned a new leaf, and we have, you know, really locked in on the defensive end. You know, so I think that's the biggest thing for us. You know, I try to just tell them, you know, at the end of the day, we have nothing to lose. You know, we got to go out there, play loose, play our game, how we've been playing and how we got here. You know, a lot of times teams get here and they try to change up what they have been doing, or, you know, people try to do things that they haven't been doing, and people get, you know, tight playing. But I just want everybody to be confident. You know, we're a confident group, be confident in ourselves, and we have nothing to lose. So go out there and play how we've been playing and really concentrate like we've been on a defensive end, because if we do that, I think we could beat anybody. You know, it's going to be a tough task, you know, and coach always tells us nothing's going to be given to you. You got to go take everything. So, you know, that's just the message I try to give to them. You know, it's going to be fun, you know, enjoy the moment, because not a lot of people are able to, you know, experience this, but let's go out there this whole entire week and focus in on every single detail, you know, and really, really, really focusing on the defensive end, because that's what win championships. And let's just go out there and do what we do.
Thanks. And I have a question for Isaiah. You know, you were hawked by your opponents all week long in Atlantic City. You had a couple of tough shooting games in there. You're going to be one of the focal points of Alabama's defensive game plan. What are you going to try to do to free yourself as much as possible?
You know, really just try to move without the ball. You know, we have a lot of pieces that can score. You know, Asante is doing a terrific job this weekend, so I'm pretty sure he's going to be a focal point as well. So that helps. It's not just teams focusing on me. They focus on him. They focusing on Dylan because he's scoring the ball better than he has. You know, they have to focus in on a lot of other pieces as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Eugene, go ahead.
First one's for Dylan. Dylan, how would you describe the last 24 hours?
Personally, I've been in a constant happy phase. I've been in a different state of mind. Like, this is the thing I came to America for. I wanted to participate in NCAA March Madness tournament. And after a game like yesterday, after a week after a year we've had where everything was against us, all the teams, all the pauses, the fact that we stuck together as a team, really, I'm really proud of that. I'm proud of the guys. And these last 24 hours was just, you know, I still got my cap right here next to me. I just been looking at it, like, I still can't believe everything we've been through. And the performance we put down, that we actually came out with the W and actually came out with the chip.
And this one's for Asante and Isaiah. You know, obviously Coach Clue is successful. Pitino is also very successful, but what would you say is kind of like the biggest difference between those two coaches?
I would say really the defensive end. You know, Coach Kuz is a terrific offensive coach, and you know he's one of the greatest offensive coaches I played for. You know, his offensive mind is it's crazy, but Coach Pitino really is a great offensive coach as well. But he really prides himself on defense, and I would say that's the biggest thing is us just really locking down on the defensive end. Is really what's going to make us allow for us to be able to have a chance to go far, and that's really been the biggest thing for me is just on the defensive side of things.
And Isaiah, what are your thoughts on the difference between the two?
Yeah, I would basically say the same thing. When I was here, Coach Klus really wanted to get up and down, run and gun, type style. And Coach Pitino, he wants to pride himself on the defensive end, get as many stops as you can in the game and grind it out that way.
And this is for any of the players, but how much does it mean to you guys to be able to keep the streak of MAAC titles going?
I mean, personally, it means a lot to me because, the first year I was here, I redshirted. I didn't get to participate in that. I was rooting the guys on from my dorm room. And this one I actually get to participate in, so it means a lot to me.
For me, I came down here and I haven't been a part of the previous success, but I do know previous players. And this week I've been in contact with EJ Crawford, Tawan Agee. We've been texting with Coach Clues, and they all encouraged me to continue the legacy that they built here. So, to contribute to that is, I'm proud of that.
Thanks, guys.
Next question is Corey Walden.
Hey, Isaiah, this is Corey Roldan from the Quad Cities at WHBF. Talk about your journey from Davenport to now and how have you grown as a player?
I would say I've grown a lot. I've been a lot of places. I went to prep school in Arizona. I went to school out in Missouri, and then I came out to the East Coast. So, it was a long journey. Each step of the way, I learned a little bit here and there, but as I mature, it was really just my mentality that has changed, being more aggressive, believing in myself more, working more, spending more time in the gym. And, I believe it's been a great journey. This is a great chance for me to, end my season off right. We're going to March Madness. We're participating in the tourney. I'm checking things off my bucket list.
What has it been like to be coached by Coach Pitino?
Man, it's great. He's a Hall of Famer. Whatever he says, you got to take an accountability because of what he's done in his career. So it's been great. He's been teaching me little things here and there, how to score better, how to play better defense, how to use a pick and roll, stuff like that.
Matt Reebok, go ahead.
Hey, Asante, Matt Reebok, NJ Hoopers. Your matchup with number 2 Alabama will feature 2 prolific New Jersey guards with Javon Quinterly and yourself. Just talk about your matchups as a high schooler and what familiarity there'll be when you take the floor.
I only played against JQ my junior year. I was with Maris, and we played him in the championship. He was a freshman that year, but I always, seen him play. I always heard of people talking about, how he plays, really good or whatever like that, so, it's just big for the state of New Jersey, for us to be able to participate in the tournament and be playing against each other. It's something big for us. I know it's going to be a lot of eyes watching, and I just want to go out there and compete to the best of my ability, and just allow for us to be able to go out there and compete at a high level and, be able to put Jersey on the map.
And in your last NCAA tournament appearance 2 years ago, when Iona took on #1 seed UNC, you played all 40 minutes of that game. How important is it for you to once again be able to be one of those go-to guys for this Iona team?
I've been saying it all season, whatever my team needs me to do, like whatever I have to do on the court, if I have to play 40 minutes, if I have to, play the best, guard on the other team, whatever it is that I need to do to help my team win, I just want to win. It's big for us to be able to go out here and have a chance to be able to do something special, and I always believed in this team since the beginning. And, I just want us to go out there and be able to do something special. And whatever it is that my that the coaching staff needs me to do and my teammates need me to do, I'm willing to do. So that's my mindset.
Thank you.
Dave Resnick, go ahead.
There was a lot of talk at the beginning of the year of all the defenses that you guys would have to learn, all the different schemes, and the jumps that Rick Pitino's clubs made from year 1 to year 2. But there was monumental improvement defensively within this season. So I guess, Dylan, if I could direct this to you, when did things click for you guys defensively that produced the performance you had on that side of the ball during the tournament?
I can't really pick out one specific moment. I think we've been progressively improving a lot this year, and we kept getting better. We recognized that as a team, but the biggest problem we had is that every time we felt like we were getting better and better, we got shut down again. It happened like 3 times where we thought we got to our hottest point in the season, defensively and offensively. And, another COVID shutdown happened. But when we played Monmouth, who was at that point the #1 in the league, and we had two very good games, especially the second game. I think we all realized how good we can be, how good we were and are. And also we realized, like, when we played defense the way we played those 2 games, how successful we can be. Like, we know that we have talent on this team, that we know we have a lot of guys who can score the ball, but when we play together as a team on the defensive end, that really proved that we can be as good as we were in the last couple of weeks.
And Isaiah, if I recall earlier in the season, you talked about your motivation this year in regards to the feeling that the seniors felt at the end of last year not getting it done. So do you feel satisfied in yourself that you did?
I wouldn't say I'm satisfied because, we still have games to be played, but, I definitely feel better than I felt last year because, I did feel like I let those seniors down. I didn't want to let myself down and the other seniors as well down this year. So, I definitely feel better than I did last year, but I'm not satisfied because we have more games to be played.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Ken.
Hey, thank you, and congratulations to the players on a great MAAC championship. Just tell me, we watched the Monmouth game, and then you had the COVID pause. You got back to practice, and you managed 4 extraordinary wins. Now you're out in Indianapolis. Maybe, Isaiah, you want to say just a little bit about what did it take to accomplish that? Where did the leadership come from within the team to be able to accomplish what you've done the past 2 weeks?
I just think collectively, we all just decided to give it all we had. COVID shutdowns, anything that went wrong, I would say. So I believe that, as a team, we all just decided to empty the tank, give it everything we had. This is the last chance that we have. These are the last games, air quote, that we could have. So we all just decided to give it everything we had, actually become a great team and a great family.
Absolutely. Asante or Dylan, a thought on that, on leadership for the past 2 weeks?
Dylan, go ahead.
We got to get his.
Like Isaiah said, we really all locked in as a team together. We realized that, this is it. we've done everything. We've been through everything. We have all the had all the adversity this year, and we've handled through that. We fought through that, and I think we all realized that we did all that. So why not give it everything we got? Why sit through all that, all those quarantines, all those pauses if you're not going to give it your all at the end? And I remember Coach Pitino telling us, like, in 20 years this could be a story to tell. Like, we could make this a victory. We can make this something special. And just like as I said, we're not done yet. We still have more games to play. But I think so. What we've done so far, it's definitely something to be proud of, and hopefully we can build on that for the next few weeks.
Asante, you had a lot of leadership on the court. What were you saying to your teammates on the court in the MAAC tournament?
No, I just wanted to win. Whatever it took to win, whatever I need to say. Like, I was just, just so amped up to be able to get back to the tournament. I was here before. I know the feeling. I wanted, and I really was trying to just get everybody to give them that, that pushing them, because I know what it feels like to get there, and I want to see everybody else succeed as well. And I know I want them to be successful, and I want to see the smiles and everybody just be excited. And that was the biggest thing for me, was just trying to get everybody to play as hard as we can, and just trying to get everybody to just have that moment that I had before. And I just wanted, I'm so proud of the team, and I just wanted us to be able to get to that moment. And like they both said, we're not finished yet. We got way more games to play, and let's have fun.
Hey, thank you guys. Congratulations.
We got time for a few more. Paul Snyder, go ahead.
This question's for all three of you. In this year of COVID, it's been very difficult for everyone in this country. And one thing that I've learned, two things actually: stay positive and patience. What have you guys learned in this year of COVID?
I would say it's been a trying year for everybody, of course, with all the things that everybody's going through. As far as the basketball sense, in college basketball, I don't think nobody else had a year like we had. Like Coach Pitino had alluded to before, like we were just talking about this last night. Like, when we get shut down, we really got shut down. Like, it wasn't no going in the gym, it wasn't any, working out or anything. Like, we really was stuck in our rooms to ourselves, looking at the four walls. So, just for us to be able to, fulfill that the one accomplishment of the season that we did so far, it was just good for us. But like I said, I'm just so proud of the team, and I just want us to continue to build what we already have.
Definitely. I would say, going through this year of COVID, and, it is what you make it. Everybody in the world is going through it. With me, I went to the gym. I decided just to stay in the gym, live in the gym, and I feel like that's why I improved so much. And like Coach P said, a lot of people have died from COVID and haven't even got a funeral. So who am I to complain about what everybody is going through?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, like the guy said, and like Coach Pitino said, a lot of things have happened this year. A lot of people have lost their loved ones. And yeah, of course, we've had a bad year, and not everything has gone our way. But at the end of the day, we're all still playing the game of basketball. So even though it has been a bad year, it could have been much worse. And I'm very happy to be in the position where I am, and I'm happy my family's healthy back home. I'm happy everybody's here is healthy. But I'm happy at the way the year ended. Well, the competition ended, and hopefully we have a few more weeks to go where we can have at least a good ending to this year.
Great answers, fellas. Great answers. Thank you.
We got one more from Ken Kreitzer. Go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, just was going to ask the guys about your rival in Indianapolis. Usually there's a lot of signage, welcome signs at the airport and the hotel. And I was just wondering about where you're going to practice. Are you going out to like some of the local high schools to practice? You got 68 teams. They got to find a place to practice. in the area?
I don't know. I don't know. Y'all know who we practicing at?
No, I have no clue. Honestly, I'll get in where I fit in. I have no problem
We
practicing.
go to elementary school.
Right, we can practice outside.
But is there a kind of a, special about the NCAA tournament? We're at with you guys 2 years ago in Columbus, and it's such a big atmosphere. Do you get the sense that the tournament has arrived into Indianapolis and there's festivities and excitement about you guys being there?
Definitely. You can look outside and see all the Final Four posters, see all the welcome to March Madness, welcome to Indianapolis, and all that stuff. So it definitely has arrived.
That's the fun part. Yeah.
Last night on the plane, going over there, we all gave each other a couple of looks like, this is really happening. Landing in Indianapolis, had the police escort to the hotel, it kind of gave the feeling like, okay, this is really happening. We're really here. Let's make the most of it.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you.